Hello, it's Greg Watford again, and welcome to this video which I've called 3 tips to make life easier with Aweber. So if you're building a sales funnel and you've got an Aweber account and you're doing follow-up emails, I think you'll get a lot out of this video, because what I'm going to be talking about is overcoming some of the problems with Aweber's text editor and making sure that your follow-up emails, your broadcast emails, are the best that you can possibly do. Okay, so let's go and have a look here. You can see that I've opened up my Aweber account and I've just clicked on in this test list, clicked on make a new message, and this is what normally comes up. Now, there's 2 ways to actually, first of all, what I'll do is I'll set it up the way that I normally set up, ready for a broadcast or a follow-up. So what I'll do, I've got 1 paragraph. I normally place an image just underneath there, in the middle of the email, and then I'll grab another one and another paragraph, and I'll put it underneath there. And let's go and put this bit of text in here. So I'll just, whoops a daisy. What I'm going to do is just copy this and just put it in that text down the bottom. Okay, so that's the way that I normally set up. I even have another image box down the bottom there for my signature. So it's up to you whether you want to do that. But basically, it's a good idea to actually go and put an image inside an email, and you can put it in the middle. Well, you can put it anywhere, as a matter of fact. Okay, so now, tip number 1 is when you put text inside a text box in Aweber, there should be only 2 ways to do it. One is you can type. Okay, so just, whoops, a daisy, just wrong. It actually had it. There we go. Right. So you just go and type whatever you want to go and say in there. But a lot of the time you'll want to actually copy and paste something from another email, for example, or from maybe a Word document, or from a web page. So what you would do, look, I've just opened up a web page here. It's happened to be one of Google's web pages. And you would normally take this text here, go right-click copy, and go and paste it in there. Now, what actually happens with this poor little text editor that Aweber's got, it actually has a bit of a, it's not really obliging. It's what I call clunky. So what comes over when you paste it in there is a lot of formatting. So and then if you go and select different fonts and different sizes, etc., poor old Aweber's text editor has a bit of a hernia, and it mightn't show up just there. It often shows up when you go and send the email to someone, or even yourself, and you go and look at it in Gmail or maybe Outlook or some other email client, and it shows up differently. You have paragraph spacings a double, for example, or your fonts are all over the place, higgledy-piggledy, and it looks really, really messy. Now, to overcome this, the golden rule is whenever you're pasting text into one of the text boxes within Aweber, is you need to strip all the formatting out of it, because Aweber hasn't got a button, by the way. It'll be great. One day they'll probably will. Up the top, they'll have a button that says a clear formatting, but they haven't got it right now. So what I do is I go and put it through what's called Notepad. Now there are several plain text editors around. Notepad comes with Windows 7. Windows 10 doesn't come with one. You've got to go and download a thing called NoteTab or something or other, plus. Anyhow, if you just do a Google search, and I can't remember the one that Apple has. Apple has one as well. These are plain text editors. So as I said, I've just copied this out of here, right-click copy. I go to my text editor and right-click paste, and there it is. Okay, so it is just plain text, nothing there, no formatting. So how I do this, how I copy this, I use Ctrl-A, right? Ctrl-A, A for all. So it's Ctrl-A, right? Then Ctrl-C for copy. And then I go back to my text editor over here. And let's say I want to put it in here somewhere. So I go Ctrl-V for paste. And there it is, just pure text. Why V for why Control V for paste is because Control P is already taken up with print. So, and V happens to be right next door to C. So you can do copy and paste, right? Okay, so that's the three: Control A, Control C, Control V. And if you get the hang of those, it'll make life a lot simpler. I'll call that an optional, sorry, a bonus. There I'll call a bonus tip about that. Okay, so we've pasted that in there. Okay, now you can send it out like this, and it will be okay. But if you have a look up at the top, see where it says font. Oops. When that happens, but this is one of the little quirks with Aweber. See, it's come up with that. It's had a hernia symbol, whatever it means. I'm not quite sure. What I do is I go down and click Save, bottom right, the blue button. Click Save, and that clears it, and I'm ready to go. So let's say I want to change the font in here. You notice up at the top left, it's in the font name. There's no font selected. What it means is Aweber has the default font selected. Personally, I don't like default fonts because I don't know what's going to happen with them. I think the default font that Arial selects is Arial, or depending on which school you went, Arial or Arial. Size, I think, around about 12 or 13, which I don't like. But the point I'm making is I don't use default fonts because I don't trust Aweber to lock in that default font every time it goes and sends out an email, and there's different email clients it's got to accommodate. So this is what I do. In this text box, it's one at the bottom. I'm just doing the bottom text box. I go Ctrl-A to select the whole of all the text in that text box, and then I go up to font and select the font. Now there's Arial, which is pretty good. Times New Roman, that's a bit passe. I use Verdana quite a bit, Verdana 14 point. But let's say we just leave it at Arial. Now, this is the tip regarding selecting a font in Aweber. I've learnt this from experience. For some unknown reason, Aweber has a bit of a hiccup if I just go and select Arial straight away. It is far better, and it will lock itself in if I go and select something else, let's say like Times New Roman, okay? If I go straight from Times New Roman into Arial, it will lock in Arial, okay? And it's the same for size. Hang on, I should have, my apologies, Ctrl-A to select all the text in there. Now go Arial. Same for size. I want 14. 14 font, the 14 point for this particular font is quite good. 13 is a bit small. 12 is definitely too small. So instead of selecting 14, I'll go 13 or 15 or whatever, and then I go back and then select 14. For some unknown reason is when you go from one size to the one you want, from there to there, then it will lock itself in and it will be there forever. I've had trouble with just selecting the size I want from default, and it doesn't, whatever, it has a bit of a hiccup. So bottom right hand corner, click Save, and it's done. Now what this looks like is if on the top right I go Preview and Test, and there's what the email looks like. This bit up here is, whoops, daisy, too much. This bit up here is Aweber's default font. As I said, I think it's Arial, probably about 12 or 13. I'm not quite sure. This is the one that I prefer. This one is far easier to read, and it sort of stands out. It's nice and clean, and it's a good size. It's an intermediate type size, not too small, not too large, and it shows up quite well in a lot of email clients. Okay, I'm going back. So that was the second tip. The second tip is always select your font and do not leave it up to Aweber just to run a default font. All right, so that's tip 2. Now tip 3 is this image. Now it turns out what you're looking at is there's a table there. The table is 600 pixels wide. So the tip is, if I just clicked on that image icon, I'm going to Image Gallery, and these images, this is the stock images, of which there's hundreds. I'm pretty sure there's 600 wide. Okay, so I'll just put one in there, for example. I'll just click on that. Okay, so there it is in the middle. Now, because the table is 600 wide, if you upload your own image and it's like 1,000 wide, 1,000 pixel wide, poor old Aweber has got to try and shrink it down to fit into the 600, and it will sort of squeeze it up. Now that may be okay for most of the time, but sometimes the table has a bit of a hiccup when the email gets sent out, or especially if someone forwards it, someone gets the email from you, then forwards it. Often it removes the table, and the picture, the image, will go ding up to its full size. Okay, so what I do, this is tip number 3, is I always make sure the maximum size of any images that I go and put into Aweber is 600. Often it's I do 550. If I'm doing something small like a little YouTube type image, I'll make it about 350. But generally, if it's like a pic like that with that bike in the bush scene, yeah, I'll make it 550 or 600. So it's quite relaxed as it sits within that frame. It's a 600 wide. Now, how you're going to get it to 600? The easy way is use PicMonkey. Okay, so PicMonkey is a free photo editing program. Or it's not a program; it's a platform. So it's PICMONKEY.com, and you just upload your image and then go and click resize, bang bang, and make sure it's 600 wide or maybe 500, 550 bracket. And away you go. You just then go and save it to your computer, and then when you get into your image gallery here, you just do my images, and then go and upload the image from there on the left hand side there. So that's basically just how you do it. I'll just close that down. So that's the third tip. Okay. All right. So just recapping, tip number 1 is if you're putting text into the text box, only 2 ways to do it. You either type it off a keyboard or you'll copy and paste, but first you'll strip all the format out of it by putting it through a plain text editor, and then using your Ctrl-A, Ctrl-C, copying it over, Ctrl-V, bang, and it's pure text. It looks good, and it will be happy to sit there in that text box. That's number 1. Number 2 is don't use the default font. Always select your own font. And if you're happy with Verdana, that's pretty cool. Just go and figure out a size. Just go and send yourself some emails based on this, and then just fiddle around with it till you get something that you think is nice, and then go and stick with it. And that'll be basically your signature type emails in your follow-ups and broadcasts. As I said, I normally use Arial 14 or Verdana 14. Okay, so that's number 2. Always select your font. And number 3 is any images, make sure they're less than 600 pixels wide. Okay, and the bonus tip was the Ctrl-A, Ctrl-C, and the Ctrl-V. Okay, all right. Well, I hope you got value out of this little video. Look, if you did, please like, comment, and share. And I'll put a link below the video if you'd like to come on board. If you're not in our team, click the link and come and join us in our latest internet marketing project. Okay, all right. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.